All right, notice the presence of quorum, everybody's here. Call me to order, pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first thing we've got is approval of minutes from our last meeting, February 11th.
Were they ever resent out, Scott? Because I did
No,
not.
we've got it. Got it right
That was
here.
that bid attached to that.
Would you like to look at it?
Yeah, like, what was attached to it? A town tower bid or something?
It's clock maintenance bid.
Yeah,
the clock.
Oh, that was,
That wasn't minutes.
yeah, the minutes were sent out before that.
Yes, God sent them out.
No, he sent out the
I
agenda.
sent the agenda, but we didn't.
They came before the, that's not.
Yeah. I didn't realize I sent that to the council.
Next, while Patty's looking at that, next thing we got, I think is relatively simple. Baker Tilly Services Agreement for 2026. Need a motion to continue using them for one year.
I make a motion to continue using Baker Tilly services for 2026.
It's, well, it's just depending on how much work they do for us, but I think it's the same as it was last year.
I think it was 15 last year, Kim. Am I right?
Yeah, I think it was.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed 15,000.
Yeah.
Then I'll second.
All in favor? Unanimous?
The only thing I'll say is just if we could add that to the commissioner's agenda, that meeting contract, if they need to sign off. I just want to, if I can take a look and make sure it's in the name of the county. So.
Garrett, being that this is just a renewal, we already went through that process with them last year? Even on a renewal, do we have to do that?
Yeah, because even a renewal was still a contract, so.
Well, they add the fiscal that you guys voted on for them to go over
Financial plan.
fiscal sustain. It's in there, I believe, or it should be. They added that. That wasn't in there last year. And to my knowledge, I don't think the treasurer wants to use them again.
Who was the treasurer one to use?
I'm not for sure she has anybody necessarily, but she doesn't plan on using them. That's what she told me today.
I thought we had decided the whole county was going to do it. It's going to use it so we're on the same page.
It's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, I mean,
Me too.
should we be voting on this before the commissioners authorize the contract?
Well, you guys are all fine with it. I mean, so what makes it tough is in other independently elected officials, it's just one person that can bring a contract. You guys just voted to approve this contingent, and then the commissioners will actually sign it. So, all good. You're good to move on to this. I'm just looking at it.
Feels good.
Yeah.
I just want to come back to the minutes if we're ready to do so.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Lance, a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
All in favor? Unanimous? Next, we've got the revised salary ordinance, reflecting the pay increase for the sheriff's department and prosecutor's office.
So I looked through, and I did the salary ordinance for those two raises, just to talk a little bit about both. The sheriff's department is based off of the agreement that has been entered into between Switzerland County and Ohio County. That is also slated to be on the agenda for the commissioners on Monday. I appreciate Sheriff Morton working with me. Initially, the terms were a 30-day cancellation. We're able to amend that so that we at least have the 1 year of certainty, depending on who the next sheriff is there. So I feel much more confident from your standpoint on the enforceability of that. There has been some consternation from other counties, but from the procedure, from the steps that we are following, I feel much more confident in that. Again, thanks Sheriff Morton for helping make that little change that helps me. Again, that will be on the agenda for approval for the commissioners on Monday. From the prosecutor's side, just so everyone's aware, I think there'll be more details. The prosecutor will come in, provide some additional information on a forfeiture that happened. We're bringing additional monies into the county. We've got that agreement signed today, and then as well as he's willing to give up his $5,000 prospectively for the rest of the year. So that's what's reflected in that salary ordinance.
Okay, so the commissioners have agreed to the contract?
Commissioners haven't agreed to it yet. I've asked for it to be put on the agenda for Monday.
So shouldn't the commissioners agree to the contract before it comes to us?
Yeah, the commissioners will need to approve the contract before the contract, and the contract won't come back, but the salary ordinance you guys control. So they're two different things, but the commissioners would need to approve the contract before it's effective.
Yeah, we just approved the ordinance, but then if they don't approve the contract, then it's kind of null and void.
I had a conversation with Scott beforehand, and if you feel more comfortable waiting on the commissioners, what we can do is change the bottom of the ordinance where I have it effective upon passage to effective upon the commissioner's approval of contract. And that makes you feel more comfortable.
Brian, I know you're trying to get this for 1 year, right?
Well, that
It would
was
cover
just to
for the
make
remainder.
everybody feel comfortable, yeah.
Okay, but if those other counties, which I've heard the same thing you're hearing, Garrett, that the other counties are squabbling, not against what we have,
Sure,
what they want to do.
sure.
But if we establish the salary and they avoid the contract next year, our salary increases are there.
Correct.
I mean, even though you guys may not be doing the same job next year underneath the new sheriff, we're stuck with salary.
Well, the only ones that can pull the Ohio County inmates out of Switzerland County Jail is the Ohio County Sheriff.
Right, I understand that, but
But he's not, he's gonna be there for the next 5 years. That's why I said we have talked in depth almost every single day for the last month and a half.
So we need a longer contract with you then?
I mean, he's open to do whatever. I mean, we've adjusted and, like I said, worked with Garrett on this, make sure the language was good. I mean, we don't even have to have a contract from sheriff to sheriff. We house Ohio or Jefferson County inmates for the last 6 or 7 years. There wasn't nothing in writing. We just billed them so much per head and everything went straight into the general fund. 12 years ago, the sheriff was making $500,000 a year off out of county housing with nothing. It just went into the general fund. I just saw an opportunity here to hopefully get my guys a pay raise and you guys some extra money in the bank. Like I said, sheriff to sheriff, I know, trust me, I know he is getting pressure up there. He made every attempt possible to talk to all the right people up there before he decided to pull out. They were spending $300,000 to $315,000 a year. We made a fair deal, $250,000 a year, whether he's got 2 inmates sitting in our jail or 25. It was a good deal. I wouldn't have made the move. I wouldn't have come and asked. I wouldn't have pushed it. I just saw a great opportunity for my people and put some back in the bank. Like I said, the MOU was just from sheriff to sheriff. That was just to make everybody feel better about everything. So, like I said, we don't have to have a contract.
is an MOU considered a contract?
Under the statute, I think it would be considered that contract. And to Sheriff Morton's point, the contract gives us comfort, gives me as the legal representative comfort that we're adding this extra protection, and the sheriff being 100% on board adds that protection. But if they wanted to just share inmates, there's a daily number that they would just start paying and switching around. So, and I think we already have the Ohio County inmates here.
We did.
I also talked to the Ohio County Sheriff, and he's very adamant about this, very forward.
Yeah,
I think it's great too. I mean, I think we all realize the sheriff deputy, turnover rate is pretty high right now. And everybody will tell you it's because of pay.
All right, I just need that question answered, makes sense to me. The prosecutor's office, I didn't see the prosecutor in here, is he? Is this on his stipend that he wants to use? Okay, guys, we had this conversation last year. The judge and the prosecutor both got a special stipend. We tried to pull that out of the budget. State Board of Accounts said, and if you start their term giving them $5,000 every year, you have to keep that until their term is over. If we give him the $5,000 for his employees, you carry that now all the way in through next year. Okay, that means that 5,000 becomes an established salary amount. If you're gonna do that, we still have to talk about this. That's what was agreed upon in the last budget meeting, was we were gonna look at the judge and the prosecutor, because nobody could figure out, nowhere had we ever asked, why do these two get a stipend? Before it was that the judge was working two different counties. So if you give that 5,000, I'm not saying don't give it to him, but don't give it to him as a salary. You don't know what you don't know right now to your taxes. If you're gonna do the 5,000 this year, give it to him as a bonus, and then set your budget for 2027 and figure out, do you have enough money to do this? Carrying it forward, it's just gonna keep amortizing. You don't know whether you can handle it or not. And you don't know if they can justify this $5,000 every year.
It goes into the salary, which would be the salary next year, then those raises.
Every year.
Then it bumps, right?
Yes, because what you're saying is that you would have the discretion to pull the 5,000 next year, but now that you're putting it into their salary,
That 5,000
is-
salary.
It's
It's a part of their salary now moving forward. Whether you're short and we already were over budget with what we submitted to the state, why would we do this? I guess the question is to you three, do you want to carry that? Because I'm saying you three, because you're gonna carry it into next year when the four of us are gone.
Well, with the 5,000 supplement going down and then putting it into the employees, combined with the forfeiture money, that net change is covered for,
You can't guarantee that your forfeiture is always gonna be the same either.
no, but this one-time forfeiture that we do know we're getting will cover the difference in the salaries for
Okay.
11 or 12 years alone.
That's-
And again, the prosecutor will come in and talk about that forfeiture next time. But the forfeiture amount is, the judge signed the order, it'd be 25,000.
I mean, I'm asking that question because nobody can justify the 5,000. That was already proven. We couldn't figure that out. Second, I asked for a stipend for all employees. I mean, this is for the prosecutor's office. He has a right to ask us for it, but we didn't even give a stipend to our own employees, the employees of this county. Because he has something that our assessor, our clerk, our recorder, our auditor, they don't get, their employees are gonna get an increase.
Because general fund is
This-
And that doesn't float with me. I mean, all in all,
This increase that we're calling it is gonna pay those three people in that office. It's gonna bring him up to every other deputy in the courthouse. So they're not being paid more than, it's just gonna put everybody on a level field.
Prosecutor submitted in writing that he wants to do this too, correct? So we have that.
Yep, I've also got, so to the point about being able to take his money without his consent, you can't take it without his consent. I've got his consent in writing on that front. So.
I just don't think you should. I mean, I don't think it makes sense to make this a solid salary that you guys carry forward. You can do it as a bonus for just this year and then have the discussion whether you're gonna continue the $5,000 increase at budget time.
It isn't a $5,000 increase. The net increase is just over $2,000 a year. And then factoring in the $25,000 in forfeitures, we're bringing in $23,000 more this year.
This year, you're right. I agree, I made that point clear. You don't know what your forfeitures are or are not. You don't. You can't say that.
Right, but
You do know this year.
But this one.
Granted, you know this year.
This one this year will fund
Yep.
this change.
Then he'll come in again during budgets and ask to do it again, right?
Yeah, he'll come back and justify
Decide then if you
keeping
want to
this.
do it again.
But once it's put in salary, he doesn't have to though.
No, you don't.
That's just it. Once it's put in salary, it'll be in that salary when we approve salary ordinance for next year. So his $5,000 stipend would be then on top of it if he got a $5,000 stipend. But the salaries wouldn't go down. I see what Matt's saying there. You know, so does that erase the $5,000 stipend then for the next budget period? I'm fine if we do that,
Yeah, that's,
but not,
My understanding and what he sent me confirmation he doesn't want it now, and he has sent me history where he said he didn't want it in the past. So he is on record as saying he wants this 5,000 not to go to him, but he wants his people to get those.
That's in the future too, as long as he's prosecuted.
Yeah, and at that point, you do have the authority to say you don't. Once the term is anew, then even if he came back and changed his mind, he can still say, no. So,
because it's already been absorbed into the salaries.
So you have this all as one big vote with the sheriff and the prosecutor, right?
that's all one salary ordinance. I agree with you, Matt, on the, the commissioners need to approve this as well. I think, I think we should,
Table it?
no, I think we should approve it contingent on commissioners.
I wish you'd separate, because I would vote for the sheriffs, but I would have a second motion, not vote for the prosecutors. But as it sits right now, I have to vote for the whole thing, and I'm just gonna vote no.
and I can make a quick change to the salary.
As I say, did you want to put the,
The effective. Does anybody have the actual one? I can just, whatever one we're gonna sign.
Well, I wrote on this one.
no, don't sign that one, I've written on it.
Yeah.
I want that one in record.
Have one to sign.
No, I didn't print
Nobody's got one?
I wrote on mine, because I figured,
Well,
all right, maybe
well, I'll-
Lance and I can piece
well,
together one.
what we'll do is, it'll say, now therefore be it ordained by the county council of Switzerland County, Indiana as follows, effective upon passage of MOU between, here, let me just say this bit. I'll just write it down. I don't want to say it.
The new numbers that we were sent already have that in there. Right.
The email I sent out
The
today
email,
is
yeah.
what
It already
Yeah.
has that 5,000 put into.
taken out and put into both.
Yeah.
Added and subtracted.
So this one, we can just make a motion to have it done as written, because he's ready to
Yeah.
clause in there, so we don't need to make an exception in the motion.
And now therefore be it ordained by the county council of Switzerland County, Indiana as follows, effective upon Switzerland County Commissioner's approval of MOU between Switzerland County and Ohio County Sheriff.
I will make a motion to,
This is motion 5, or ordinance 5, I'm sorry. You don't have that wrote up on the top.
change that.
So it'd be 311-26-5.
I'll make a motion to present salary ordinance as Garrett presents, being effective Monday after the commissioner's approval.
I'll
Thank
second.
All in favor?
And that's for both.
Yes. Opposed?
Nothing against you.
Appreciate it.
Motion passes.
I'll let you write in the number he's talking.
Next up, we got, after prom, we're skipping down because Katie's here to present for the after prom donation, and she has something she has to be doing here at 6 o'clock, so.
Thanks for letting me skip above. I have my soil water annual meeting right next door, so if you guys want a dinner after this, come over and see us. But I'm coming to, request money from the opioid settlement fund for after proms, for Swain County after prom. And the after prom was started in 1994 by James Fetter. And it's a free, safe, substance-free environment for students to go to after the prom. And we actually have a lot of students who are not able to attend prom due to financial reasons, but they still participate in after prom. Like I said, it's been going on since 1994. This is my 5th year being involved. I think we have 5 people at the table that have had children be involved, or they have also been a part of this. Each year, the Sheriff's Department sponsors us with the t-shirts, and the back of each t-shirt has something on it about a substance-free evening and who it's sponsored by. This year, we were cut by one of our funding sources by $2,500 due to their budget constraints. And as you know, everything is more expensive this year. There's no $5 gift cards anymore. So all gift cards are, the cheapest I can get is $10. The entertainment comes from BYB Entertainment in Kentucky. And what we do, we set up all around the gym, a mechanical bull, jousting, the blow-up sumo wrestling costumes. They have games that they have to participate in to get tickets. So the kids are up and moving the entire night. We lock them in at 12 and they do not leave until 4:30. They have to play games and get a ticket and have to have their tickets in order to win prizes. We have prizes from all over the board. We have a lot of very generous people that donate mega prizes, TVs, mini fridges, computers. It's really heartwarming to see these kids participate because year after year, we have kids come up to us and they're so thankful because they are getting prizes that they could not afford. A lot of them are moving out on their own after graduation, or they're going to college, or maybe the military. And they come up to us with tears in their eyes, so thankful that they won a laptop that they're going to be able to use. We've had students come up to us that work all through school and through the summer to help their family. And they were able to get gas cards, so they didn't have to use their paycheck for their car to get back and forth to work, and that money could help their family. So it's a very popular, we had over 200 students last year. Each student has to be approved by the school. They have to have certain grades to be there, and they could not have been kicked out of school or have any type of behavioral issues. So I know that there's quite a bit of money sitting in that account that has not been used, and this is a prevention program. And we take kids right up into the last minute as long as that we can get them checked out through the high school. And all of them love it. We have about 30 parent volunteers that come back, and actually a lot of my people coming back to help me have not had kids in school for several years, but they still come back because it's a lot of fun. So I would like to request $5,000 from that to cover the $2,500 that cut that we took, and then that $25 to possibly be in that account next year, because you do have to pay half of the entertainment for the hypnotist and the inflatables in December prior to. So at least that money would be in the account for whoever runs it next year to be able to get started.
It is a great event. If you've never been there, you ought to stop in and stick your head in. Be amazed. When they first started that, I thought that's not gonna draw these kids. Because we all know what we used to do in high school, but a little different after prom, but I'm telling you, it's something. I was amazed, and the participation amount was, I mean, that gym is full of kids.
We provide pizza, and snacks, and then we send them out the door at the breakfast. We do our breakfast sandwich. Last year we did donuts. Solterra donates pop and water. We have a huge community support. But like I said, everything is getting more expensive, and we want to be able to give them the same experience that they've had the last several years.
We've got, I believe, about 60,000 in that unrestricted opioid settlement fund that hasn't been used for anything in years.
Gail, do you have it separated?
Mhm.
So it is separated.
Yes,
Okay, so
two
And I-
different funds.
you have a great program, but we got to make sure this one's done right.
It comes in like that. When it comes in to
Yep.
me, 1237, 1238 are the two funds. it comes
Okay,
into.
and then you have to have, Katie should submit just what she talked about, a written documentation to you of what we use those funds for. Because you have to now, the Attorney General was in charge of these funds, restricted and unrestricted, when they first came out from the federal government and that settlement. But now it's been moved to the Department of Family Services, is that right? So
Yeah.
now they're even more strict. They want the counties to identify the funds with description of who we gave it to, when you have to submit as the auditor to the Family Services of what we used opioid funds for. So I'm just asking, I have 100% give her the 5,000. But we're supposed to have a document that says what they used it for, prevention, training, education, I think were the three primaries. And you just used the word prevention, so I think we're covered there.
I have all the information because I have to turn in a grant report to the community
Right.
foundation, so I can give all of that.
That'd be good.
Yep. And then before we cut the check, as long as we have that before we cut the check. Is that fair?
Yeah, I can have it to you by next week.
I'll make a motion to approve the $5,000 for the after prom.
I'll second that motion.
I'm going to abstain.
All right, we got a motion from Kim, a second by Matt. All in favor?
Thank you.
Scott, I need to head out early, but I need to go. Thank you.
All right, thank you for being here. Next up, we just got an update. I put on here, the commissioners approved the CCD fund rate increase to the max of 0.033%. There is a process entailed that probably has a couple months to be completed. So it's not effective yet, but it's in the works.
Because it wasn't the .01, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like half of that.
It was exactly that, I believe.
You got published notice of public hearing and hold the public hearing and all that, right? That's what
Yeah,
that
there'd
is.
be a timeline for like disputes and.
Yep.
I think Baker Tilly's handling that for us on the commissioner's behalf.
And I think we, at some point, need to look at our current budget, the general fund, and identify items that should be in the CCD fund. And I think we should go ahead and move them over. There's like $500,000 in that thing that's never been spent.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So all kinds of training and, I mean, it's just all kinds of options to move that over. And then next year we'll have even more to work with. So it'll help us out in budget time.
All right, next up, we've got the highway department additional appropriation of $40,000 for overtime. Would you like to speak, Dustin?
Yeah, so we're out of overtime already. We budgeted 25,000, we've done burned it up, so. I figured if we could do like we did last year, just do 40 and 10,000 increments as we needed.
Sounds like comp time is coming back,
Sounds like maybe, I'm not
less than
sure.
this overtime expense.
Yeah,
We need to identify what's coming.
Yeah, where do we want to take it from?
So on the next one though, the additional appropriation from moving it from fund to fund, you don't have any in your others that you could adjust to cover for it.
no, because we split payroll between 73 and 76, but most of our payroll comes out of 76. The 73 you can only use for surface
Okay.
work.
Do I need
We got extra money in 73, but can't pay overtime out
I
of
got
it.
it.
And then on the next one, that's a refund we have come back in for where the state had a detour on us and they tore the road up and we paid to fix it and then they reimbursed us. We just need to move that one into our chip and seal line item so we can do a little extra chip and seal this year with that money.
Where have we been taking this in the past? Exactly.
I believe the last one we did out of the county's casino money,
I think that's what we did.
the councils, I believe that's what we did last time, which,
We've got more than enough there.
yeah, it'd be nice if there was money coming into that fund, and it's not, so.
Yeah.
I'm okay with doing that again.
The commissioners didn't offer up there?
Look, they told me, come to council.
That means you just, over time, you just won't plow their roads, right?
Yeah, right.
So they're funding them, but
Yeah.
ours is stopped and now we're using ours.
So the last time we did it in 3 different increments, or if you needed it, you,
Yeah, we only got 10, we did 40,000 total, but we only did 10,000 at a time as we needed it. So once we ran out of the first 10, we'd ask for the second.
So we can-
This will cover you all for the rest of the year you're expecting.
Yeah, we hope, yeah. And that just keeps us from having to come back here
Yeah,
every
yeah.
$10,000
Yep.
and ask for it.
so we would approve that
I believe
amount,
Matt
and they
brought
just,
that
just
up
move
last
it as
time.
needed, right?
Jenny lets me know.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Why don't we stay at a commissioner's?
Yeah,
We can. I'm pretty
Well,
sure
you
we
can
can.
make
We can try
a,
that.
they're in control of
I
that
think we
one.
legally can. I don't want to kick the hornet's nest.
that would.
I think we could do that if we want.
I don't think we can do that. I mean, you can ask,
Hopefully this
we
is
can
all,
ask them to, if they would take it out of theirs. They evidently didn't offer that, right?
No, I mean, they just told me.
They know
we
you're here
talked to
tonight.
council.
They told you to talk to council.
hopefully this is the last one.
But don't get too aggressive because I need equipment too. Might have to come out of commission.
All right,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
you're taking out of casino revenue, council's casino. revenue.
Yes, out of council casino.
All right, motion by Kim, second by Todd to cover 40,000 out of council's casino revenue. All in favor? Unanimous. All right, next one up should be quite simple. Highway Department additional appropriation, $163,715.50 from their fund, 1173,3,800 to their fund, 1173,63,68. That's for the purposes, I think,
Chip and seal.
chip and seal.
Normally, we appropriate 350,000 a year for that, but then we got this back as a refund. We're gonna add that in there so we can do 512,000 or whatever it is.
Has no effect on the general fund. It's
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
motion by Matt, second by Kim. All in favor?
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dusty.
Thanks, Christie.
Next up, we got Swisher County Emergency Response for an additional appropriation of $8,889.22 from their fund, 1151,3100 to their fund,
06.06.06.
The balance that we paid out was for our EMS charting software. When the commissioners approved the new charting software and the new billing company, it was originally going to be a pass-through with the billing company. They were going to pay the charting software since that's the billing that they use. Now, granted, now that we own our own charting software, we have access to our records. The old software that we had when we switched billing companies, we have very limited access to any of those records other than what was submitted to the state. So the plan was that money was supposed to be paid by the billing company. We are receiving more money than the billing company is collecting. So they don't have enough money on hand to pay the bill. So we paid it, and we just need to move money from the billing that we already have to the new account 4306.03 to cover the funds.
Is this gonna be just a one-time thing?
It is a one-time on this, and then next year we're just gonna put it in the budget because it's gonna be the same issue next year. we're getting more money into the deposit account than they're keeping. I think we've got maybe 1 or 2 checks from them total since starting in June. That's how close it's running. The money that they're getting is barely covering the fees of the money we're collecting.
So you'll fix that at budget time?
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
Motion by Matt, second by Carrie, all in favor? Unanimous. And next up, came in after the agenda was done, Shannon Brown is here and would like to speak.
Yeah, I just want a couple minutes of your time. I know it's valuable. You guys are a respected part of the community, the council. I just want to know wanted you to know who I was, and I brought a take home so you could see my bio and just see a little bit about my vision. That's all I'm really here for. Most of you know me, some of you do not.
Shannon, I give credit. I did not, I talked to the election. I didn't know that, I mean, I learned something. I didn't know that as running for any office, that you could do this with both commissioners and council.
I just thought you guys should see my face.
Yeah.
And
I
know
would
me
prefer-
professionally instead of, Kim, it's been many years since we've seen each other, so.
But being this is a public meeting and you're handing us something that we're not reading to the public, so I guess that, and it's our right to do this. If you want to tell the public who you are and what you gave us.
Basically, all I gave you, my name's Shannon Brown. I gave you my bio of my history, what I've done in the military, what I've done in the private sector, and I gave you my vision of what I see as a sheriff in this county. And I'll publish that online on my Facebook page. But I wanted to give it to you guys first out of the respect for your positions before I posted it to the public. So,
Thank you.
and that's all I wanted.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Good luck.
Thanks, Shannon.
Appreciate it.
All right, last up, we got board reports. I have not had a meeting with mine, I don't have anything.
I had a recycling meeting, and we basically as a board approved to add a new position to shift someone that's getting closer to retirement in, and then have a mechanic. So they're gonna have a full-time, basically, position for a mechanic. Recycling.
I didn't have any meetings. Next month we have one.
And
Same here, till April next week.
Unless anybody has anything else, so.
I mean, I'm sure you guys read the DLGF's announcement. So since the beginning of the year, 24 counties have now, there was 18 at the end of the year that implemented a wheel tax. And now 24 more counties have already started.
that'll be
The
on.
suggestion is you have your wheel tax, hospitality tax all done before budget starts, because if you don't have it in by September, same rule as last year, you don't get to implement. So what's our plan here, guys?
I've been working on that, talking to some folks. I plan to put that on our next agenda and hopefully we can.
And we have to have public meetings, I'm sure you know. So all that's we're less than 100 days now before budget opens.
Yeah, it's kind of, my plan is to kind of make that our next big thing on next meeting. I'll get that hashed out because everybody knows
Still just March.
we're gonna need that for the community, some of the community crossing money, which we really rely on our highway department does, so.
They changed that a little bit, didn't they? I mean, they were kind of wanting you to do that in order to be eligible for more of that money, but now it's not quite as much. Is that right, Dustin?
Yeah, so basic understanding, they're gonna give so much money to Marion County right off the top. They'll give a little bit to the railroads, and there'll be 100 million to compete for in community crossings. But whatever's left over, we will get as an automatic extra money for divided between counties if you have a wheel tax in place by September.
Okay.
If we don't get one in place by then you miss out on the extra money.
The extra, but you still can apply for the normal annual grants. Is that right? I mean,
Well, just till 28, and then I think you won't be able to apply anymore. But some of that's still untaxed.
You have to have it, yeah, you have to have it established.
Okay.
But the wheel tax, what percentage of wheel tax stays in Switzerland County?
All of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all of it, that's okay.
We said how much, like, we can say $10 per wheel, or we can do what,
But
just a
community
couple.
crossings though is based out, you were saying the percentage that goes to Marion County and whatnot. That's
Yeah,
not a
so,
community
so
crossing.
used to, there was 300 million available for towns and municipalities to apply for. Well, now they've capped it at 100. They
Okay.
took 50 million of the 200 they took out of community crossing straight to Marion County.
So the wheel tax is gonna basically replace
They
a
don't
lot of
have-
that.
They're holding the counties accountable.
Right.
Yeah.
We just signed it.
And our worry is after a few years, if they do away with community crossings for good, and we don't have a wheel tax in place, that $1 million a year we've survived on,
It's gone.
yeah, no bridges, no blacktop.
Gil, can you pass that salary ordinance around for us to sign? Yeah.
So I thought that was what we were pushing for, was to have it done already.
Again, it's a grandfather.
What's something, they didn't explain that.
I don't think they did, we're just like the incubators.
Yeah. Well, that's
Just
another.
sign them.
Yeah.
So here's- you have to get 'em.
Yeah,
That's important.
and what did we ever decide we were doing with the incubators?
We didn't do anything with it because we didn't get a clear plan for what tourism is gonna do with it.
Remember Garrett came in and said, we
Yeah.
had a discussion, well, now we can do that. It's another one we need.
But we have to make sure that the campgrounds are included. Because my understanding was the extra 3%, if we did that, took it to 8, the extra 3% would stay 100% in the general fund.
The issue is what Dusty's bringing up, is that the fear is they're gonna cut more of the
Yeah.
community crossings.
Right,
So you have to set your wheel tax with that thought. in mind.
exactly.
That's right.
And most of these guys are doing 20,
That's what I thought too.
which originally started at $10.
There's a salary ordinance.
Per wheel, I think it's per vehicle.
I had a review.
Well, I know,
No, it's for registration.
yeah,
Is it the registration?
Yes.
All right.
it's confusing.
It goes,
It
it
says
goes by
wheel, but
weight.
it's per
for-
registration.
I
Flat
thought
wheel
it said
for,
per wheel.
like big truck trailers over a certain poundage,
Salary
Sure.
ordinance.
basically a wheel tax. And
Just
then
for
you'll
sure.
have vehicles,
That's for
which
both of
is
them, yeah.
the excise tax.
Well, it's both,
But
that's
they're
where I'm
both
at.
registration tax.
Last meeting.
Did you say Garrett?
All right, with that signed, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second the motion.
Motion by Wayne, second by Carrie, all in favor.
Wait, wait. I wanted to speak.
Oh,
No, talk. Okay, let's talk.
Can we adjourn?
Yeah, you're good.
All right.
You almost got it on live.
Gail, what's this?
Your 1095.
You don't have to.
Yeah, but it, on the, at line 18, it's supposed to be